How do you increase your sexual power as a man? To make yourself more desirable to women, in bed and outside of the bedroom. So women actually want to be with you in a sexual way. You have to increase your sexual power. I remember a friend of mine who lets her back 10 years. He was scrawny, he was skinny. He didn't work out. He didn't really take care of himself. And he really got no action at all. But he was young and he's like 23. 24 that time, so he looked good, he was handsome. But he just didn't take care of himself. He didn't have control over his life. And I remember he had no women at all. Which is, that's not unusual for men under 25. A lot of people think, oh, guys are not getting any sex. Well, if you're under 25, it's actually harder than when you're a little bit older. And this has always been the way. It's nothing to do with the internet. It's nothing to do with dating apps. This was happening in the 90s. It was happening in the early 2000s, before dating apps and the internet really became a thing. Men who were young, they struggled to have sex just like everybody else's. But back to my point about how you increase your sexual charge with women and your sexual power. The reason why I mention this friend of mine is because 10 years later, when the guy was in his mid-30s, he was killing it with women. It was a complete transformation. This guy was ripped. He'd spent 5 solid years in the gym. He worked out like crazy. He had higher testosterone levels. He took care of his appearance. He was doing better mentally and physically. And this translated into more sexual power and a greater sexual charge. Right? How do you increase the sexual power between you and a woman? You have to increase the sexual charge. What is your sexual charge as a man? It's masculinity. It's the masculine charge. If you have a feminine charge of feminine polarity, well, you're gonna repel women because they have the same charge as you. A lot of guys, and I think personally why a lot of younger men feel with women, is because they are more feminine. These men are much more feminine. They're much more in tune with their femininity, which involves traits like being emotional, and talking about your feelings, and being nurturing and caring and sweet. Not really having much ambition, not really having much drive, and not having much self-control and power over your own life, which is a turn-off to women. It doesn't matter what women say, doesn't matter what women think. They're always going to respond to the masculine charge. A 2011 study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that men who are more assertive outside the bedroom and in the bedroom are seen as much more sexually attractive by women. This doesn't mean being aggressive, because if you're aggressive, this is a turn-off to women. Women see aggressive men as unsophisticated, unable to solve problems in a sophisticated way. That's a turn-off to women, because women who don't have physical power, they have learned to become sophisticated in the ways of negotiation and getting what they want. And they look at men who are aggressive and don't have much sophistication as not being very civilized and not being very attractive. So assertiveness is not about aggression. Assertiveness is about being confident in what you want and going after it and not having any sort of apology and not having any uncertainty about what you want. I remember personally when I was younger, I was much more uncertain when I was around women, about pushing for things like intimacy, about taking a lead. In the same way, I was much more uncertain around women. Now I just take the lead, and I don't care about what the woman wants. And that will serve you in a much better way. If women feel that you have confidence and you're assertive, in the bedroom taking the lead and outside of the bedroom, leading a woman into the bedroom, that will also increase your sexual charge and power as well. So I know it's hard when you're younger. It's much more difficult to do this because there is a lot more uncertainty about where the boundaries are and what you can get away with. But just know that you have a lot more room to maneuver. You can push things a lot further than you think. In terms of being assertive, not being aggressive, being assertive, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section below. I always love to hear from you. And if you want to know more about building attraction the right way, I highly recommend you get a copy of my book, Atomic Attraction. You can pick up your copy today by clicking on the link below. And don't forget to do phone and email consultations. You can book a consultation with me on my website, Develop Traction.